Good afternoon, students. So now we're in week 5, only 3 more weeks before this class ends. So right now I'm going to talk about science of persuasion. So this is going to be for your forum in week 5 titled Evaluating Argumentative Techniques in Writing. And that is the week 5 forum that's due on Monday. So that's the one in which you're going to you're going to post and evaluate a message. And so you're going to post an article, or you're going to post an article in which you're going to evaluate how effectively this article was written. Was this article, how do you evaluate an article? How do you evaluate a source to see if the source is credible or not? And so what you're going to do is you're going to look at the effectiveness of the message. You could use several methods to evaluate this article. You could use ethos, pathos, logos. Ethos means appeal to credibility. Is this article written by an expert? Appeal to pathos. Appeal to emotion. Does this article have very good descriptive language? Logos, appeal to logic. Does this article have good essay structure? So you can use ethos, pathos, logos structure, in which ethos, appeal to credibility, pathos, appeal to emotion, logos, appeal to logic. So that's one way in which you can evaluate your article for the week 5 forum due on Monday, evaluating, I keep forgetting the name of that, evaluating argumentative techniques in writing. And then another way besides ethos, pathos, logos is you can also use kapow. And so kapow is how we evaluate whether or not a source is credible or not credible. So C stands for whether or not it's current within 10 years. A in kapow stands for author. In other words, is it written by an expert? And then P, purpose. Is the article an ad? If the article is an ad, then the article is not credible and not to be believed. O, is the article objective? And if it is objective, that means does the article talk both sides of the issue? So objectivity. W, writing purpose. Is the article written in a professional way? Does it have, so it's similar to appeal to logic, logos. So W, writing style. So C for currency, A for author, P for purpose, O for objectivity, W for writing style. So you can either use ethos, pathos, logos, or kapow. Either way, you can evaluate the argumentative techniques in forum B, in the forum that's due, week 5 forum that's due on Monday, because in week 5 you have 2 forums to do. One forum is due on Thursday and one forum that's due on Monday. So this is for the forum that's due on Monday, where you're evaluating pieces of writing to see whether or not they are credible and believable, and to evaluate their techniques in writing, in argumentative writing. So now I'm going to go over the different aspects of persuasion. So in this article, Science of Persuasion, which is one of your videos that you're watching for this week, you have reciprocity. So reciprocity means that you give back what you receive. So that means that you make other people owe you a social obligation. And so that's one way in which you can persuade someone to do something. You have scarcity. Scarcity is when you make the product scarce, making everybody want the product. That's a very common marketing technique, in which you would say, buy this product before it runs out in 2 hours, or it's sold out, so you got to get the last one. So that's scarcity. So that also makes people want to do something. Authority. So does the article have authority? And so authority as in, is it an so this is similar to the A in kapow and ethos. In other words, who is telling the message? Is it an expert telling the message? And so if it's an expert that's telling the message or persuading you to buy the product, then everybody goes buy the product because the actor or actress tells you to do so. Consistency. So consistency means that they sell the product to you over and over and over again until finally you buy the product. Liking. Liking means that you say yes to the people that you like. That's similar to authority. So in liking, that means that you, if it's somebody that you like on TV, for instance, let's say you like a certain actor, you like a certain actress, then if that actress says, oh, go buy this product, I use it all the time, then you are also more likely to be persuaded to buy the product. So all of these are different ways of persuasion. Consensus. Consensus means, does everyone else buy the product? If everyone else is buying the product, then you're more likely to go buy the product. For instance, if you go to Amazon, you look at all the reviews, and that particular product has really good reviews from everybody else. So that therefore that product has the consensus of everyone else buying the product, so that makes it more likely for you to buy the product. So these are the 7 elements of persuasion. So in your week 5 forum on the evaluating the techniques of argumentation, you're going to say, you're going to analyze, does this article have reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus in its article in order to get people to be persuaded? Is the article credible? Does it have ethos, pathos, logos? Does it follow kapow? So you could use all 3 of these ways in which you can evaluate an article to see if it's credible and persuasive. So basically, in this whole forum, you're trying to see if a particular article is credible and persuasive. A 4th way to evaluate an article is to use something called a rhetorical situation. In a rhetorical situation, you ask yourself, who is the writer? Who is he? Okay? Is he an actor? Once again, this is like appeal to authority. Is it an expert? This is like the A in kapow, or the ethos in ethos, pathos, logos. So who is the writer? Is the writer believable? Is he an expert? So first you look at who is the writer. Purpose. Okay, this is just like the P in kapow. Purpose. What was the purpose of this article? Was the purpose of this article an advertisement? If it's an advertisement, it's not credible. Okay, it's not credible if it is an advertisement. So, audience. Who is the audience? Who is this message geared for? Who is the niche? In other words, who's the buyer of the product? Is the product geared for children? Is it geared for women? So back in the 70s, they used to make ads that were geared just for women. And this was, of course, this was a bit sexist, but they used to figure, marketers used to figure that washing machines and kitchen gadgets were for women. And so they used to run those ads during the daytime, thinking that women are at home in the kitchen. This is the 70s, of course. And of course, for men, they would have men's cologne or shaving. So who is your audience? Who are you writing to? So who is the message geared for? Okay, so who is your niche? So audience. So who is the audience that the message is geared for? And then so you've got writer, purpose, audience, and then you've got genre. So what genre? Genre means the kind of writing. Is it a narrative? Is it cause and effect? Is it definition writing? What kind of writing is it? And then and how is the text constructed? So that's what genre means. And then context. What is going on around, in other words, what historical context is going on around that message? So the historical context, just like I said, in the 70s, women used to get ads about washer and dryers, anything electronic, because back in the 70s, that's when women used to stay at home, or the 50s, 60s, and 70s, back at a time when you could have one person stay at home, and you could actually have one person work and the other person stay at home and still be able to afford everything. These days, you have two people working and you still can't afford anything. So that is the context. What is the context or historical background of the message? So now I've gone over several different ways in which you can evaluate whether a message is persuasive and credible. You can use ethos, pathos, logos. You could use kapow, or you could use the 7 ways of persuasion, or you could use the rhetorical triangle, which I just went over, which goes over writer, purpose, audience, and context. So that's a lot for you to swallow, and it's up to you to decide which one you want to use. You could use the easiest one, and you could, so all of this is going to be in your videos for this week. And so you could slow down this video and take notes. So I will repeat it one more time. Ethos, pathos, logos. Ethos is appeal to credibility, which means, is it believable? Is it written by an expert? Pathos, does it appeal to the emotion of the reader? This is the part in which you're aware of your audience. Is your audience or reader, does the audience like your, who is your audience? So that's pathos. And then logos is appeal to logic. In other words, is it written in a professional manner? Is it logical? Is it an ad? If it's an ad, then we don't pay attention to it. And then you've got kapow. That's a second way of looking at an article, whether it's credible or not credible. You've got C for currency. Is it written within 10 years? A for author. Is it written by an expert? P for purpose. You notice that it repeats. All these different ways all have similar aspects. P for purpose. Is it an ad? If it's an ad, then we don't. Then it's considered biased and not credible. O for objectivity. Is it fair and balanced? Does it tell both sides of an issue? W, writing purpose. Is it logical? This is similar to logos in ethos, pathos, and logos. Then you've got your rhetorical triangle, in which you ask yourself, the writer, who is he? Purpose. What's the purpose of the article? Audience. Who are you writing for? Genre. What kind of commercial or what kind of message is it? And then context. What's the historical background of this message? Then you've got this, whether or not this is a very persuasive message. Reciprocity. In other words, you give back to what you receive. In other words, you make people owe you a social obligation. Scarcity means whether or not, how scarce is the item in which you want people to buy more of the thing by making less of the object. Authority, appeal to credibility. In other words, who wrote the article? Consistency, you show the message over and over and over again until people buy the product. Liking, you say yes to the people that you would, in other words, you tend to buy something if it's created or said by somebody that you like. And consensus, you're more likely to buy the product if everybody else is buying the product too. So that's known as the science of persuasion. So these are the many ways in which you can evaluate the argumentative techniques of a message for your Week 5 forum that's due on Monday. So I hope you found this talk informative about how to evaluate a message. So if you have any questions about how to evaluate a message, you can always email me. So have a great afternoon.